Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today we will be recapping and reviewing Perfect Match Season 2 Episode 3. So we start off on day 5. Micah and Kaz won the last challenge. So they get to go to the boardroom and switch things up a bit and bring in some new singles. So right now at this moment of Episode 3, Harry and Elise are considered the strongest match right now. So Micah and Kaz are thinking more strategically. If you remember from the previous episodes, Harry and Elise won the first challenge. So they went to the boardroom, but they thought more of like actually acting like matchmakers and trying to help their friends find their perfect match. While Kaz and Micah are thinking more like game wise, one of us has to be the winner at the end of this, and y'all are too strong, so let's break that up. But I think it is a good thing, like beyond the game standpoint. Harry does have a past that is interesting to say the least. So he claims he has changed. He wants everybody to stop talking about his past. So this is a perfect time to completely test, has he actually changed? So they bring in Jessica from Love is Blind, and she's his type to the T. She's brunette, she's short, she's tan, which is the exact opposite of Elise. So, I mean, if you claim you have truly changed, there should be no issue in bringing Jessica in. There should be no problems. So this is a perfect time to actually test how much has he really changed. We cut back to the house where Chris is talking about not putting all his eggs in one basket. He does like Dominique, but he doesn't really know where that connection is going. It's super new. She's not really giving him that much attention, so he wants to explore his options. Meanwhile, Micah and Kaz are in the boardroom debating the second couple to match up. So it's between Steven and Chris. Chris was kind of Dominique's default person just to get away from Brighton. So they know there's not a real true connection there, so they kind of want to match Chris up with somebody else. And then Steven, they just want to test Steven and Xanthi's connection, even though they also just got together technically, literally the night before. So I don't know why they need to be tested so quickly. I mean, they haven't had a chance to develop their feelings, and I think if they had a chance, they really will do well. But I mean, if they tested this early, it's such a weak connection, it can really go either way. I think they make a good couple, but I mean, it's still early, so there really wouldn't be a deep connection there to hold on to. Micah and Kaz go back to the house and reveal that Steven and Harry will be the ones to go on a date. Harry, of course, needs to be tested, and he's a little bit worried because he has dated almost every single girl in the Netflix reality universe. So, what problems to have, sir? But yeah, he's going to be tested. And then Steven, of course, they said they wanted to test their connection, but it's such a new connection. I don't know why it needs to be tested. It's not like they're considered a strong couple in the house. So I don't know why they did that. I think they should have done Chris instead, because everybody can tell Dominique is not feeling Chris. Like, she looks annoyed every time he starts talking to her. So that would have been the better one. But I mean, they're trying to play this like game wise, so I kind of understand, because they know that's not going to be a strong couple. They're not going to win in the end if they were to stay together and just, I guess, tolerate each other. But Xanthi doesn't seem too mad. That doesn't seem upset. She doesn't seem worried. But Elise is taking this very personal, because her and Micah are good friends. So for some reason, she feels like this is kind of like a dig at her personally. And I just don't think she realizes like this is a game. Like, it's not a vendetta against you, but like this is a game. And at the end, there's only going to be one perfect match. So while your friend might want you to find your perfect match, she's also trying to be the winner at the end of this. But Elise is taking this very personally, and she's very worried because it's Harry. Who wouldn't be worried with somebody with this reputation going on a date? So, and she's worried that they might have gotten his type to a T, which is exactly what they did. But she's just gonna have to wait and see how does it work out. This is, I don't know why she didn't look at this like a positive. Like, this is the chance to see, has he changed? He's been telling you all this stuff. Actions speak louder than words. So I would look at this as a positive. It's better to find out now because y'all have only known each other. This is day 5. You've only known each other for 5 days. So if he's lying and if he's been faking it, it's better to find out now before y'all get to the end and then y'all go outside the house and then he leaves you and it's like you wasted your whole experience with the guy that you were with from day 1. So take it as a positive and go with the flow, girl. So they bring in Alora from Dated and Related. She actually dated Kaz's brother, so I'm kind of surprised that he set her up on a date and was the one to bring her into the house. I feel like each episode so far, they've kind of been bringing in people that they know or have a connection with. I mean, you would think they would do it in more of like a drama type of way, but it just seems like they're just bringing in their friends. I don't know. I don't know what the point of that is, but yeah, he brought in Alora for Steven. And I know in the last episode I said Steven and Xanthi would probably be in the top 3 or the perfect match, but I might have to change my answer because him and Alora were really kicking it off. They were matching each other's energy. Xanthi is more reserved. To me, she's more reserved, not in like a shy way. Like, she's still extroverted, but her energy is very calm compared to Alora's like very bubbly, energetic. And I think that's more Steven's speed. Like, he seemed more of himself with Alora. With Xanthi, it seems more like he's trying to tiptoe and match her energy compared to Alora was already on his level matching the energy. So they kicked it off really, really well. But Alora still wants to see who else is in the house before they lock it down as a secure match. Also, Steven has to think about, he already has this match with Xanthi. Does he want to risk that for Alora? Because at the end of the day, there will be 2 girls going home. So, do you want to risk that? Because Xanthi only had a connection with Kaz and Steven. So, if Steven doesn't pick her, she's potentially going to leave the house. And if she leaves the house and you risk this connection for Alora and it doesn't work out and Xanthi's gone, it's a risk. You got to weigh the options because that is risky business compared to everybody staying in the house and you can go back to the last person. If you leave this person and you mess it up, they're potentially gone forever. So you have to be careful with these choices. We cut back to the house where Xanthi and Elise are talking about how they're dating the 2 bad boys in the house, obviously. But Xanthi, like I said, they just matched up like the night before. So she would be surprised if Steven chose the new girl, but at the same time not upset because there's no deep connection there. So I don't know why Micah and Cass thought to test such a new connection. Like, how are you going to test a connection that's been going for like 2 seconds? So she wouldn't be upset because there's no hard feelings there. They haven't really developed anything emotionally with each other. And Elise, obviously, on the other hand, has been with Harry since day 1. She has not formed a connection with anybody else. Like, they were going to ride it out to the sunset. So she feels a little bit more slighted by Micah and Kaz because she thinks they're just like trying to stir the pot and they have really like set the tone for the rest of the game. So I think Harry and Elise kind of set the tone of like, let's help each other find our matches. And Micah and Kaz mix it up to now where people are realizing like, hey, this is actually a game. So going forward, I know if Elise stays in the house going forward, she's going to have a vendetta against them. Like she said, y'all set the tone. Micah and Cass should be scared because she's coming for them. But everybody else now also knows the tone. Like, this is a game. Let's get it together. We need to win these challenges to protect our connection. While also we need to be strategically thinking about, hey, who else in this house is a good connection and we need to break them up. So, I mean, it had to be done. Micah and Kaz may be the villains. They may be the heroes because they reminded everybody of what they were actually here to do. I don't know. It's up to you to decide if they're the villain or the heroes. I kind of think they're the heroes. You got to remember what you're here for. Harry's test lasted all but 10 seconds. He caved so fast. He described Elise's and his relationship as a friendship. For the past 3 episodes in 5 days, they have been developing a friendship. Right. That's everybody else in the house would definitely describe that as a friendship. All your conversations was definitely giving friendly. Makes sense to me. Makes sense to me. So he gives the same spiel about dating for marriage to Jessica. He also took the news of her having a child very well. He honestly just seemed head over heels for her. It was his type to a T. She is his type to a T. So Micah and Kaz knew what they were doing, but I mean, she was the perfect one for the challenge because she is his perfect match, like, or his perfect type. If they had brought somebody else in, he probably still would have caved, but I don't think that he would have caved as fast as he did with her because physically she matched his type to a T. Elise, you need to thank Mike and Kaz. I know you think this is like a slight against you and you're taking this personal, but this is a blessing in disguise because this girl came in and after 2 seconds, y'all went from we have a strong connection and we're dating for marriage to y'all are a friendship. Just be happy you did not waste your whole experience on this guy. Just be happy. You found out early. Harry and Jessica arrived back at the house first. Harry greeted Elise, but it was in like a, hey, how are you? Goodbye. Like, it was very much giving friendly, maybe even this is our first time meeting type of greeting. He gave all his attention to Jessica. Elise felt the shift in his attitude immediately. She's confused. Like, we've been spending time together all week, and now you're just ignoring me. Everybody in the house knew that was Jessica was his type. Short, tan, brunette. I guess that's all it takes for Harry to fall to his knees and leave whoever he is with. So once again, Elise feels like this is a personal attack because not only did Micah and Kaz set him up on a date, they set him up with somebody who was his type to the T, who was the exact opposite of her. I'm telling y'all do not want Micah and Kaz, you do not want Elise to stay in this house because it sounds like a personal vendetta is brewing against y'all. Even if y'all didn't mean it that way, Elise is taking it so personal. But girl, once again, you need to thank them. You need to thank them, seriously. Why would you want to be with somebody like that? First off, with his history, I don't know why any of y'all would choose him in the first place. Like, hearing his history, that is embarrassing. Constantly having women come up to you and tell you about your man like that, that is embarrassing. So I don't know how any of y'all matched with him in the first place. Like, I wish the best of luck to all of y'all, but could not be me out here being embarrassed like that constantly. Stephen and Allura arrived back at the house. Stephen gave Xanthi a way better welcoming than Harry gave to Elise, but you can still tell there's like distance there. But once again, Xanthi barely knows this man. So while she looks a little worried, I don't think she really cares like that. Like, honestly, she doesn't know this man. So it's no real slight against her if he chooses a new girl. Also, a lot of the guys were looking at Allura when she walked into the house. So this really could go either way because last time they had new guys come into the house and the girls weren't really looking at the new guys. But now the guys are looking at Allura. So even if Steven wants her, he now has to compete with the other guys. So it's still 50-50 at this point of what is going to happen and who's staying and who's going. The boys have the power to choose tonight, so Chris is so excited to finally explore his options and actually go around the house talking to all the girls. So he starts off talking to Dominique. Now, Dominique is who he is currently matched up with. This girl does not like him. She cannot stand him. Every time they're talking, she physically looks annoyed and repulsed by him. I don't know why she's still, like, she should have went on and told him at the beginning of the night, like, hey, just let me go home because I don't like you. But he tries to talk to her, tries to have a conversation, but he tries to have a conversation about her sexuality and exploring the open doors of her sexuality, as he liked to put it. So she did not like that question because you wouldn't ask a straight person that question. So this was honestly just another reason for her to not like him. Like I said, she already didn't like him. Now he's asking outrageous questions, so she could have just sent herself home at this point because she really does not like this man. And every time he opens up his mouth, he's making it worse and worse. So, but Chris is a little interesting. I feel like he's a genuine guy. Like, he seems like he's nice. But at the same time, I don't know. There's something there that I can't quite put my finger on. Like, he kind of gives, like, immature vibes. I don't know if it's nerves. I don't know if that's just him. I don't know. But I feel like he's a genuine nice guy. I just think he sometimes put his foot in his mouth. So, and Dominique doesn't like him either anyways, so they're probably just not vibing together. I don't know. We need to see Chris with somebody that he actually vibes with to get like a good read on his personality. Chris goes over to Elise to talk, and he's just way too excited to have the power and choose tonight. Like, way too excited. For a second there, I did think he was going to choose Elise, until I remembered they're just really good friends outside the show. So I was like, okay, scrap that. But then he said he was looking at Xanthi. I mean, that's a good viable option because Steven is definitely not looking at Xanthi right now. But then he also throws out Talu's name. At this point, Talu and Dom are going really well, so it just sounds like he's just throwing out options. Like, he's just a kid in a candy store. I don't like that. I don't like when guys act so hungry. Like, why are you acting like you've never ate a day in your life? Like, calm down. Calm down. You're too excited at this point. Like, sounds like you're just trying to go for any and everything. Whatever will bite back at you and give you a little bit of attention, because Dominique is not giving you that attention at all. So calm down and actually make a logical decision of who do you actually like. Choose who you actually like. Don't just go for anybody that will take the bait. Well, I spoke way too soon about Dom and Talu because Dom was actually on Perfect Match the first season. He was the first season's winner. I did not watch the first season, so I don't know how that went, but he wants to do things differently this season. He feels like he can be loyal to a fault, so he wants to explore his options just to make sure he's making the right decision. Now, if he has eyes for a new girl, I don't think Steven or Harry is going to let either one of them go that easily. Like, they seem pretty locked in. So the night has gotten definitely more interesting because, I mean, the girls seemed all pretty locked in beforehand, before these new girls came in. Like I said last episode, they were not looking at the new guys. So this is pretty interesting to see, like, who's about to go home tonight. I do feel like Dominique is going to go home just because they're like the weakest couple here. Obviously, she doesn't even like him. But the other couple seems so strong. Like, I don't know how this is going to go. I don't know how this is going to go. Dom could be making a really bad decision because those new girls are locked in. It's going to be a fight to the end, so we just have to wait and see. The girls have a sit-down chat minus Elise and Dominique, and Laura expressed her interest in Dom. Now, this is important because she expressed it in front of Tolu, and Tolu knows Dom is like ready to explore. And I think Alora is the one that Dom wants to explore with. So the fact that they are interested in each other, Tolu was a little scared at this point because I don't think she even thought going into this night that it would be a possibility of her going home or not ending the night with Dom, because they were like such a strong connection right off the bat. So this is pretty interesting, pretty awkward too. Like, if you know his match is right in front of you, I don't know why you would say it. I mean, I guess be straightforward about it, but I don't think I would have said anything in front of his match like that until I knew for sure, like, we're trying to talk or something. And then Jessica revealed what Harry said about Elise and him just being friends. Now, this completely shook the girls, obviously, because they have not been acting like just friends for the past 5 days. Okay, they've been with each other since the very beginning. Harry has not tried to explore any of the other options in the house, so this was news to everybody. This was news to everybody that he felt like they were just friends. And so they told Jessica. So obviously this was news to Jessica. It shocked her too. They tried to explain, you need to be careful with Harry because that has not been the case these past 5 days, and Elise has no knowledge about this. So she takes the information in, but she wants to talk about it with him first. She doesn't want to just, take their word for it because they're all friends at this point. So she doesn't know if it's like he actually is lying, or are they lying because they don't want to see their friend go home? Which, I mean, is smart to be a little bit skeptical, because what if they are trying to protect their friend? I understand that she's skeptical, but the way he talks about like he's dated almost every girl in the Netflix universe, you had to have met at least one of his exes. Like, you had to. I mean, Jessica's pretty new to the Netflix universe, but I mean, there's no way. The way all these girls knew about Harry before he came into the house, you had to know too. You had to know. So I understand the speculation. If it had been any other guy in the house, then yeah, you could feel like they're just trying to protect their friend and they don't want to see their friend go home. But for Harry, you might want to listen. I always wonder, these people, when they look back at these shows and they see like all the lies and manipulation, like how do they really feel? Like, especially when somebody tries to warn you and you like defend your man or whatever, and you're like, oh no, they were right, I should have listened to them. How do y'all feel? Because Harry, we're gonna get into it, he's a little manipulator. We're gonna get to him. I don't know if it's gonna be this episode or next episode, but we're gonna get to him because he's something else. Micah and Tolu immediately go and tell Elise about what Harry said. She did not take it that well. She's happy. She's finally realizing the blessing in disguise of like knowing sooner rather than later. And in this exact moment that they're having this conversation, Harry walks by and Elise is like, "Hey, can we have a chat?" Now, a normal person, would stop, acknowledge the person that's speaking to them, especially the person that they've been sleeping beside these last few nights. No, he keeps walking. He's like barely acknowledging her. He keeps walking and he's like, "Yeah, let me get a drink and I'll be back to you." Now, your goal in this house is to find your perfect match or whatever. That could be with the person you're with. You could like somebody new that comes into the house. That's the whole purpose of the game. That's not the problem. The problem is he's going about it in like the most disrespectful way. Like the most disrespectful way. Like everybody else, when they're into like a new person, they're like, let me go have a chat with the old person first so we can get an understanding and so I can let them down softly before I come back to you. Harry is a different breed. I know like the first episode or so, like he kept saying like, don't judge me by my past, don't judge me by my past, and he kept getting upset about it. And I, in a way, I did feel bad for him because I mean, people can change, but like I kept saying in those videos, you cannot be upset that people are weary of your past. But now seeing him in this episode, I figured it out. He's completely emotionally manipulating these people. Like, to the T. Like, if you call him out on something, he starts crying about it. He's like, how can you make me feel so upset about this? Like, this thing that was completely out of my control, yet I did all of it. Please cry me a river, because you have not changed. You are the exact same. You cannot get upset when somebody asks you something that's factual. To just go straight to, how dare you make me feel bad for something that I did. My eyes were open this episode. I have no sympathy for Harry. Like, it all left after this episode. It all flew away because we saw your true colors. We saw your true colors, okay? You have to be careful when you ask people factual stuff and then they start to immediately go to trying to guilt trip you for bringing it up. You got to be careful. You got to be careful. I knew it was a little weird because he kept bragging in all his confessionals. But then when the girls would bring it up to him, it's like, how dare you bring up my past? But yet you were bragging about it in the confessional. So are you upset by it or not? Do you regret your past or are you proud of it? I don't understand how anybody can watch any of the shows Harry has been on or know about any of his exes and his past relationships and why they would want to take a chance on him. He's not worthy of a chance. I'm sorry, but let him stay right where he's at. None of y'all should be trying to have any dealings with him. And hopefully, we don't know what's going to happen with him and Jessica. If they do make it out of this, hopefully she sees these episodes and she breaks up with him, because she can do so much better than that. So much better than that, because this is the wrong person for you. This is the wrong person to have around your child, girl. Just leave him right there. Elise and Harry talk, and the real him made an appearance. Yeah, this is that past self that's so gone. He came to play tonight. So she asked him about the whole friendship comment, and he's like, well, you didn't want to sleep with me. We weren't progressing, and I don't want to wait. Harry, anybody that knows about your past are not going to just jump into bed with you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if you think you were that good for anybody to just want to jump in the bed with you, but with your history, nobody's about to do that unless that's all they want from you. You said you're dating for marriage? Okay. All right. So he's like, I haven't made a decision yet, but the way you're talking to me right now, yeah, that's making me make a decision. So now you're trying to blame her. Okay. All right, I know exactly what this is called, but you know what? I'm going to keep it to myself because I'm not a licensed therapist, but you supposedly have a therapist. Would love to see those notes. But moving on. So then he's like, well, why don't you get with Dom? What? Dom? Dom, the one who is already matched up? The one who's also trying to explore options, but that's neither here nor there. She's like, well, if you really cared about me, why would you sit here trying to set me up with your friend? So she's like, either I'm with you or I leave. He goes, cheers. My anger issues could never. My anger issues could never. Did you just cheers to me saying, well, then I would leave? Villain origin story right there. I would be your worst nightmare at that exact moment, sir. Don't. Why would you do that? Like, you can end things amicably. It's the way he's doing it for me. Like, why do you have to be a jerk about it? Like, that's ridiculous. And so he's like, well, if you love someone, let them go. At least, like, we're not in love. I don't love you. He's just there laughing. He's literally laughing in her face. This is a changed man that's in therapy? Really? I had an ex that was exactly like Harry. I mean, to the T, exactly like Harry. Yeah, he said he went to therapy too. Yeah. He came back from one of those sessions talking about something about him being a Scorpio and the way Scorpios are in life. These therapists are getting real interesting out here. Y'all better be careful who these people are going to therapy with. Okay, so even Steven is like, man, you can't make a girl cry. Like, that's gonna look bad on you. Harry doesn't care. Harry's not here to make friends. So he doesn't care if he makes another girl cry. You are trying to go for Jessica though. You don't think that's gonna look a little bit bad if you have a girl over here crying? On top of everybody's already talking to her about you lying? Because what friends would be crying if you found somebody else? Harry is a character. He is a character. The house is in complete chaos right now. The guys are acting completely different. Dom's over here talking to Alora. Harry's over here marking Jessica with his watch. And the girls absolutely hate the guys right now. I'm not really sure how they can move forward after this because the guys acted so bad. And especially in future episodes when new girls come in, like, it's going to be real interesting. But I do think this is going to, like, make the girls move a little bit differently when new guys come into the house. Because, like I said, the first time the new guys came in, the girls were, like, not really paying any mind to them. So, but now in the future is going to be a completely different ballpark out here. But Micah and Cass, of course, they match up for the night. Micah was the only girl who didn't have to worry about her partner. Micah and Cass need to watch their backs because they stirred the pot and the pot was stirred. They should watch their backs. So the girls talk to Jessica again, and she's conflicted because the relationship Harry is describing with Elise is not the relationship that everybody else is describing. Yeah, that's because one is the truth and one is a lie. But, you know, she's really worried because he has a bad track record also. So she doesn't really know what to believe because Harry is a real good sweet talker, but the actions are not matching. And Harry sees this interaction and he breaks that up real quick, because he knew they were over there stating facts and he did not want her to hear any of that. So he pulls her to the side and, like everybody else, she is just straight up with him because he's like, they just don't want to see their friend go home. It's deeper than that, okay? Like, everybody knows two people are going to go home. At this point, two people are going to go home. Like, why are they just trying to save this one friend? Come on now. So, like everybody else, she was straight up with him. You know, I don't want to end up in the graveyard of relationships ruined by being associated with you. Of course, he did not like that. He never likes when you call him out on his mess. He doesn't like when you state facts. So he's like, that's not nice. That should just be his tagline. That's not nice to say to somebody. Who cares? It's the truth. Okay? You have a bad track record at this point. So he promises to give her his everything and they match up for the night. I was so disappointed. I was like, I know exactly where this is about to go, but it's a canon event at this point. I mean, we've all been there. I mean, some of us have been there. It's a canon event, but I mean, all you need to do is go through it one time, and I promise you, girl, you will never go through it again. You will never play me twice. So it's a canon event. You got to let it happen. The lessons need to be learned. Hopefully, they get learned fast for her sake, because she has a child. She told him, I have the most to lose, and she does. So I hope within the coming episodes, she gets it together. Elise decides she does not want to, just leave the house and let Harry get away with his shenanigans, and she wants to still stay around and find love. And she is really good friends with Chris, and as we know, Dominique doesn't really like Chris. So they decide to match up for the night. I'm happy she's staying to watch everything blow up in Harry's face. Harry and Jessica had already left at this point, so they do not know that she is staying in the house. So this is going to be a big surprise in the morning for them. Can't wait to see that reaction. But yeah, they match up. Dominique does not know at this point that they have matched up. But I mean, she shouldn't be too surprised because you did not like this man. So if you do not like him and you don't really seem to be vibing with anybody else in the house, this is not a perfect friend match. This is perfect love match. So at least now you can go out, find whatever you're looking for, and him and Elise can stay and find their perfect match. And that is how the episode ended. It's going to be very interesting next episode, seeing Harry's reaction and Dominique's reaction. Dominique should not be that upset about it. Like I said, she doesn't like Chris anyways. And Elise deserved to be selfish after the ordeal she had to go through tonight. So more props to her. But I am interested to see how everybody else that's left pairs up. Now we know Alora's not going anywhere because she has 2 people pining after her. So she's not going anywhere. So only 2 people left, like to see who's going to go home next, is Xanthi and Tolu. So it's going to be a really interesting next episode because I did not expect any of them to go home, to be honest. Well, I expected Dominique to go home, but I did not expect it to be down to Xanthi and Tolu. They just seemed like such top contenders and like they had really strong connections. So let's see next episode. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you like this video, please give it a like, comment, and subscribe. And please make sure to keep the comments tailored to this episode only. If you want to talk about a future episode, hit the subscribe button, turn on the notifications so you will be notified when I post that new episode. And I will see you next time for Perfect Match Season 2, Episode 4, Recap and Review.